Hi everyone. So we're live again. I'm just setting up my tech here to make sure everything is set up. And I'm set up here on TikTok, and I'm so happy to see who's jumping in. Um, I'm Ilima Hong, and I'm with Essential Digital Biz. That's my business that I choose to help and empower others to learn how to run their own online business and all of the various steps it takes to start it. Um, Over time, as you follow me, you'll see the trainings that I'll do, free trainings here about setting that up and really what it takes to start your own online business. Using some free methods like creating organic traffic and getting your message out there clearly. So today I just wanted to just share three of the starter points for starting your online business. I've shared my story before. I'm 52 years old. I'm a mom. I'm a wife of 23 years, happily married. I have over 25 years of experience in business and education. And so I find myself, after learning about my job being changed really abruptly and without my input, I pretty much, in a nutshell, I just decided to take matters in my own hands and learn how to create side income so that I don't rely on my 9 to 5 or a career or the decisions of somebody else. And ultimately, going through that journey about finding out, first, the sudden impact of learning that my current job was going to change, and then deciding to search and take matters into my own hands by looking online, looking in social media, and finding out that there's ways to create extra income on the side. And these methods allow you to still stay at your 9 to 5 job. Hi, Christina. Thanks so much for jumping in. Um, I will also post in my comments the worksheets that I'm going to discuss in the live here today. You can go ahead and look at them. There's some links in there too. So I'm going to put that in right now before I forget. And so here it is. I'm going to copy this and put it in here. So um, you'll see the PDF of my Google Slides of what I'm speaking about here today. And there are links in the Google Slides that you can access. Okay? But just follow along. Don't jump ahead because there's really important sequence of information that I want to share with you. And it's better to just go through it, one slide at a time while I'm speaking. Now back to what I was saying about, just being someone who learned that my job was going to change with no notice. It was abrupt, and I felt like I had no input into it, and realizing that I really had no control over what, a new supervisor says about or the agenda that they have for the work that we had. And ultimately realizing that it's best for me to rely on myself and all the skills and the abilities and the potential that I have to learn new things to create a business of my own. And so I also found over time that this information that I discovered and the person that I became, was helpful to many online here. And I thought, okay, I'm going to share that story. I'm going to help as many who need that, who want to take those first few steps in creating that online business. And I'll just share it, right? I think that could resonate with some of you out here. So I'll dive in. So the critical components of a successful online business. Okay, these are the starter components. There's a number of steps you need to take, but as long as you just stay in a strategic, proven strategy and steps that you take that I share with you, you're going to see the success that you're really looking for. Now, in the three components, I'm going to discuss number one, mindset. Okay, it's really what's going on up here that takes, such a formidable, such an important aspect to you finding success in anything you do. Okay, and then number two is your niche. So a niche is a business term about sort of like an area of interest or a genre or an area that you are deciding to have your online business in. It's sort of going to be a topic that you look to helping in that area. Okay, and third is identifying your target audience. So some people online call it your avatar. So your target audience or who is interested, what are their problems, and what is your solution to something they're struggling with. And I've chosen those three things myself. So we'll talk about mindset, but I have a niche and I have a target audience. So while you are being aware that mindset is important, you have to pay attention to it. You have to be more present with yourself as a new business owner or as a new business entrepreneur, right? The reason you have to be aware of it is because your subconscious, and the thoughts that you have in your mind drive certain decisions that you make and the habits that you have created for yourself over the years. And what goes on up there, if you just sort of not tend to it, you'll find yourself not making very good decisions around your business, not being clear on and timely and effective in your decisions. So paying attention to your mindset is a critical component to creating and starting a successful online business. And that is certainly something that has to be an ongoing practice. So these components I'm talking about, some of them it's just a matter of you investing a little bit of time to create, but the one that takes ongoing attention and care is really your mindset. Okay, so this is the start of that concept for you, but there's ongoing practices and strategies that I share with my group, in my Facebook group, that we talk about, almost daily or weekly. Okay. So by understanding your mindset, you possibly have better life outcomes. Okay. I'm talking about your business decisions, but your mindset is responsible for your entire life of decisions and choices. Okay. Now, I'm not here to blame or judge or critique anybody, to be accountable to where you are today. Your circumstances are unique, and the decisions you made are driven by a number of things. However, you can start there this very moment and at least understanding how important that is. Okay, this very moment. We're not gonna really dive into what's happened in the past for you, even though that's important for you to research yourself. But for today, we'll just talk about how important mindset is. Along with that, understanding your a mindset is your self-awareness. Yeah, what you think and you do, why you think the way you do, and why you do the things that you do. Okay, and there's a number of reasons for that too, right? Everything that has to do with ourselves has been influenced and shaped and created by a number of things outside of us. Okay, our environment, our upbringing, the conditioning we've had, how how other people have demonstrated themselves in situations that you've observed. And then depending on what age you were when you were exposed to these things, you're a little more influenced, and other times it was less of an influence. So there's so much. What makes me able to even talk about all of this is really on the education side. It's my studies in human development. It's my degree in human resources and in my experience with working with employees, career development, mediation, interpersonal skills building, and that sort of thing. And my time as a mom and as a wife who worked on a very healthy marriage and relationships in my household. So I didn't just show up to the chapel and become a, phenomenal, nurturing, supportive, um, inspirational wife and partner. It took time for me to learn that with my husband, but over time we created that kind of relationship, which makes me, feel really excited and passionate about helping others to also create that kind of, relationship. So that's expertise. It's not mastery because I'm constantly learning and so are you. But it's there for me to share with you. Okay. The other thing about understanding yourself better helps you understand why you decide the way you do, and it more importantly helps you adjust, okay? It helps you make some shifts and some turns in your decisions, in the direction that you take. So sort of some shifts and turns because you become more aware of how you used to make decisions, why you used to make decisions, and how you want to improve that. And then some strategies and some practices that you'll have to improve it. Okay? So just being able to, share that with you is, I'm so stoked. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. Now, the positive mindset for business, actually, even in life, and I use this a lot in my education administration practice, is your growth or a fixed mindset. Now, this is by renowned author and psychologist Carol Dweck. Her book is called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. If you can get that, go ahead and find that in your online, or even you can even YouTube her to see what kinds of things she brought up on her YouTube page. And so you want to know how to be able to thrive and not be discouraged even when life is challenging. Okay? How do you view the world around you? Is it to the extent that everything is trying and challenging and uncertain? Or is there an aspect within you that you could see that there are possibilities for it to get better? I have a role in some of the positive outcomes that can occur around me, right? I'm okay with feeling uncomfortable because uncomfortable means that I can also grow from the experience. So that's a growth mindset, right? The fixed mindset is such that things happen in a finite way, right? If something unfortunate, maybe to your car, something broke, right? Most likely a fixed mindset will see that as, a reason to completely ruin your day, a reason to completely take out your frustrations on others. So that's a really fixed mindset instead of looking at it from the perspective that, hey, okay, this is something that I can improve on with time, with a mechanic, with some help, with my own two hands, and sort of just move through the challenging situation. You also, in your growth mindset, you also take accountability for what's happened, right? Like I just mentioned, the car broke down. There's possibly someone to blame for that. Maybe somebody didn't put gas or oil, or there was some maintenance that you share the car with. But for the most part, if it's your car, right, it's you. It's just you. You just go ahead and fix it and just move on, okay? Grow and evolve despite the setbacks and changes around you. That's a growth mindset. The second thing you need to do is choose a niche, right? And a niche is something, a category of what your business is run in. For example, there's three popular niches, and that's usually wealth, relationships, and health. Okay, and those are sort of the areas that you might include your business in. So if it were in wealth, you could be someone in finance or teaching about investing or helping others to learn that, right? If you were in the niche for health, then there might be areas that you could help with in dieting, exercising, hormones and stuff like that. If it's relationships, then it definitely could be parenting, dating, marriage. But there's just a number of niches out there. There's boating, golf, dance, cooking, weightlifting, boxing, sailing. Like there's just a number of niches that you could look into, but it has to be something that you're passionate about. Okay, because it's not something that just kind of wears off on you. Like this is a niche or an area that you think you could just speak about comfortably. So my niche is the wealth niche, but I'm not the type, I'm not speaking about like investing and real estate and all those kinds of things. Around my wealth niche, I just provide education. So I pursue that wealth niche to talk about how to start an online business. What is passive income? What is affiliate marketing? What are digital products? So those are sort of the areas that I focus on, and I help others learn how to do that. Basically, at the end, you want to be very careful about what you choose. And I said again that you have to be passionate about it. You have to be comfortable talking about it, because in the end, right, you will need to come across after you've studied and learned and continue to hone your message in. You'll be an expert and be able and have the authority to share that information with others. Basically, if you're struggling to find out, what kind of niche you want to learn about or put your business in, you could also think back to maybe what kind of positions you've had in jobs, what things did you volunteer for. If you tended to be the one who helps with the potluck, tends to coordinate that, then maybe you have a knack for organizing. If you were the type of friend who could made the time for your other friends and listened, able to understand what your other friends were going through, and you tended to be the person that they come to, then you might have the personality and the qualities to be a good listener and ultimately a counselor, right? So these are also ways that you can sort of hone in on a niche, and it doesn't have to be certainly what you went to school for. It doesn't have to be something you worked in, but those are the methods to find niches for yourself. Okay, and then you do need to know your audience, right? And that's called an avatar. So this audience is one person. Okay, when I'm speaking to you in this venue of ours, I'm speaking to the one person who could be starting out, know not a lot about personal finance or not a lot about passive income and starting an online business, that's for sure. Although there could be people who are a little further along in their journey, but they've become stuck. So I can also help with them. But my real message is to somebody who's just starting. Yeah, I've also coined the term 0 to 1. Instead of helping the person who wants to go from 0 to 100, I have no problem just helping the person go from 0 to 1. And that's just setting up your learning all these different things and then setting up your online business and then moving through the process. You're gonna When you develop who that customer is or that avatar, you're actually focusing in on the gender, what's their demographic, gender, female, male. Sometimes it doesn't need to be that, but their demographic, right, is stay-at-home moms or career women, or vice versa, stay-at-home dads, career men, working a 9 to 5 or not. What do they like? What do they not like? And definitely most importantly, what are they struggling with? So you could already envision that person could also be you, right? That person could be you, who you were about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago. I use my story about, you know, learning from my employer that everything's going to change for my job. I use that as an example of a big challenge, right? And who was I back then? And who am I today? So the person I was back then, I didn't have an online business, right? I had an inkling about it. I had an interest in personal finances, but I didn't know anything about starting an online business. But fast forward to today with the training I've received and the conversations I've had with a number of mentors and a community group that I've learned with, oh my gosh, I could write a book, right? I could write a book. I might write a book based on what I went through in my learning and who I am today. Because if you had told me 6 months ago, hey, you're going to be on TikTok, you're going to be in Facebook, providing live information, setting yourself up with rigging, let me just turn this around and show you my, I don't know, I'm afraid to show you my rigging. I have a bunch of my lights up. I definitely think I will be setting my office up a little better, but for now, it's working. But 6 months ago, I would have never thought that I was going to be doing this. So, who are you, right? And where do you want to be in 6 months? So, the key to success is that you do have to understand the needs of your niche and your avatar. Again, as I mentioned, it's critical to just hone in on to that one person, speak to that person, and if it helps, you could speak to you who you were 6 months ago, right? And that could just help you get your message through. Before any sales or any customers or any lead generation is developed, the people that you're speaking to that you want to help, they have to know, like, and trust you. It's the KLT. Know, like, and trust you. And this is accomplished through thoughtfulness, kindness, compassion, authenticity. Just being you, not trying to be somebody else. I'm not. Sharing your story in hopes that, that definitely could help someone who's at the point, the way I describe it, the person you might be right now is just sort of looking for something. Okay, you can keep your 9 to 5 for now, but you want to learn something else to be self-sufficient, right? And to, unlike me, not rely on an employer who could ultimately pull the rug right out from under you. Pull it. And you could just land on your back with your feet up in the air, just completely shocked. You could do that, for a split second, and then you could realize, oh, wait, I don't need to be shocked and I don't need to be vulnerable because I have my online business that makes me passive income, right? I've worked hard and that's what I do. So I'm not relying on the decisions of someone else. It's going to take work. Before I end here, I also want to share that I have a free 3-day challenge coming up, and it sort of has to do with this, and I feel it's very fitting because of working on the mindset. With the holidays coming up, I have a free 3-day challenge to a simpler, stress-free holiday with your families. The reason this is going to be really useful for many is because although we don't want to admit it, but a number of us, in the end, I mean to say, nobody has a perfect family, okay? Nobody. And so you might have your unit, which is just you and maybe your spouse and maybe your children, or just you and your spouse, or just you and your pet, like that could be your inner circle. But then you have an expanded circle. That could be siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, parents, and another expanded circle, more distant, larger family members. But how you interact with your family members can make the biggest difference over the holidays, because there's no other time than in the holidays that you run family traditions. Okay, whether it's certain foods you cook, whether it's certain ways you decorate, whether it's certain roles that people take. um and although that sounds like, oh, that sounds like a good system of people doing what they're supposed to do, trust me, they don't do it, and it causes a lot of stress. So I have some strategies that I want to share in my challenge, and I'm going to challenge you to sign up. It's on my link, my account there. Sign up for your free passive income book, and then once you do that, then I send you the information about the challenge. Here in Facebook, you'll see it already in my presentation, and it's on my page as well. It's called the free 3-day challenge, to a simpler, stress-free holiday with the families, with a specialization and a special look into the struggles and challenges of our family systems. Okay, just learning a couple of tips up front before Christmas and before you dive into those holidays. I think it's going to save you a lot of time and worry and stress. Um, and I'm just looking forward to you jumping in there. That'd be a lot of fun. It takes you to you sign up here, then it takes you to a Facebook group. In the 3 days, you're going to get worksheets and modules and some information about those struggles I just mentioned. You know, how our families are kind of intertwined, and there's a bunch of learned, manners and non-manners that occur. And then we learn how to unbundle that, and you use these strategies to sort of get through so that conversation is clear, effective, and has a lot of heart. So I hope that was helpful to you. Watch me tomorrow. My live is tomorrow again, same time, where I'm going to dive a little deeper into ways of passive income. Talk about, what a lot of people are talking about online, with affiliate marketing. But I have a new program, okay? So that presentation I'm doing tomorrow is going to be a lot different than what you've seen about AM affiliate marketing. And I'm so excited to share that with you. So for Facebook, go ahead and watch my replay, comment if you were live, or if you were on replay. I put together also a free, I'm going to copy this, and I'll put in the comments my free PDF on how to start a budget. It's generally a start for financial literacy and that sort of thing. Ultimately, you can just pull that off Facebook, and we can take it from there. I'll see everybody tomorrow. I'm excited to share my presentation on affiliate marketing and my new program with affiliate marketing, that many of you aren't aware of.